All right, hello. So museums today are facing a growing problem. They communicate fundamentally different than the younger generations. And while this spans multiple generations, we're going to be specifically talking about the IGENs, which is the generation after the millennials, roughly between the ages of 8 and 18 years of age. And they're the first true digital natives. They're the ones that were born into a technology-driven world. And because of that, it has dramatically affected the way they communicate. Specifically, they expect digital content. Again, they don't know a day in their lives where they've not had technology enriching nearly every area of their lives. And a mistake that people often say is that they're addicted to technology. They're actually not addicted to technology, they're dependent on technology. And because of that, they expect digital content in their everyday lives. They also have a very short attention span, less than that of a goldfish, but they're masters at task switching. And because of that, they need their data delivered in very small chunks. And they also need their data to be interactive, because that's what they're used to doing, interacting with data. If we compare that to the way that compare that to the way that museums communicate today, they first of all have very little digital content. They have data that's delivered in very large chunks. If you think about the large placards of data on the walls, and their data is very static. It's not interactive at all. The two are simply not compatible, and unless museums can do something to adopt this new form of communication, they risk becoming obsolete. MuseumQuest is a mobile application that is built to help museums to preserve their relevance for the next generation. It'll also help museums to increase their attendance as well as visitor retention. It will provide valuable visitor analytics for the museum, and it will also provide an increased value for the school visits. It is a gaming platform that offers users the ability to choose from a lot of different types of multiplayer or single-player games. They'll be able to complete content by answering trivia and puzzles that are near the exhibit that they're at. When they finish games, they will level up in a number of different learning tracks. And they also will have an account that spans all the different museums that they go to. There are also other features such as augmented reality that's supported, as well as the ability to have school group competitions that they have. So our market, the museum technology market, is expected to reach $3.5 billion next year. And there are currently over 30,000 museums in the US. Now our target market is those museums who are, first of all, have a revenue of over $500,000 annually, and of very specific disciplines that we feel like are going to benefit from MuseumQuest. That comes out to be roughly 6,000 museums. By 2023, we expect to have 170 MuseumQuest-enabled museums, have $19 million in revenue, and we also expect to add 60 new jobs. Our business model is a combination of subscription and also consulting model. So museums will first pay for a subscription fee that covers the cost of the software. They will, now that fee will scale based on the size of their museum. And there is also a consulting model where they need to pay for, have their apps branded. They have their own specific app. We'll need to brand that, as well as add the content for their museum. Now, while this fee is a one-time fee, we do encourage museums to continually add new content so that there's always new learning opportunities for repeat visitors. So the museum industry has been trying to adopt mobile technology now for a few years. But what that's amounted to is they take the content from the museum and they place it on a mobile platform. Or perhaps they add additional technology or information and they put it on the mobile platform. But the unfortunate truth is, if the IGENs are not going to read the information on the placards in the museum, they're not going to read it on the mobile platform either. So if you think about the three attributes of IGEN communication, digital content delivered in small chunks and interactive, the competition's only satisfying that first, which is the digital content. MuseumQuest, on the other hand, with the addition of supporting all three of the IGEN attributes, we also take a dramatically different approach to the way the content is created. With our competition, they create the technology, they hand it to the museum, and they expect the museum to be the ones who create all the content. But unfortunately, museums just are not equipped to handle this burden. So in the case of MuseumQuest, all of the content for the museum is created by our own creative content specialists, which are educational trained, specialists that are trained in education as well as in gamification. My name is Robert Lair. I am the founder of LIFEQUEST Studios, the creators of MuseumQuest. I have over 20 years of experience as a full stack developer. I've previously owned a software consulting company where I acted as CEO for 8 years. I have brought over 15 products to the market from idea to completion, and I'm also the author of 7 books. Debbie Lair is our director of creative content. She has an elementary education degree as well as an art education degree, and she has over 24 years of experience in teaching children as a teacher, as a children's director, and also a director of family ministries. So our status and our traction so far, we currently have a working prototype of MuseumQuest. We are currently working with Dayton area museums to get early adopters of the technology. Our closest at this point is the Air Force Museum, where the education division there has indicated they wish to go forward, but at this stage we're waiting for the Air Force Museum Foundation to approve and fund that effort. The other very strong prospect right now is Boonshoft, which we have had great discussions with, and we look forward to discussing that further. While those are our 2 closest prospects, all the museums we've discussed this with so far have been very open to it and have given us great feedback. We do have 2 products that will be following MuseumQuest that are based on the IP of MuseumQuest. First of all, TravelQuest. It takes MuseumQuest one step further. It broadens the market to reach all travel destinations. So you can think of cities or amusement parks, things like that. You can now reach those with TravelQuest. Then we have GeoQuest, which is one step even further. It's our grand vision. It basically turns the world into a giant treasure hunt. And you can think of that kind of like Pokemon Go meets geocaching, if you happen to know what geocaching means. So we do have an ask at this point, and it's primarily for connections and advice. First of all, we're looking for museum industry experts, people that we can network with and learn from. We're also looking to find candidates for what we're calling a museum ambassador. This is someone that will not just bridge the communication gap between the museums and us, but also someone who can assist museums by writing grants for them and obtaining funding. We're also looking to start a MuseumQuest Foundation that will help, specifically be a nonprofit side that will basically help museums fund them for MuseumQuest. And we're looking for experience and advice in that area. We believe that MuseumQuest provides a great opportunity for specifically Dayton to really help impact, to help reshape museums for the upcoming generation. And again, we would love for that to start here in Dayton. Thank you so much. Any questions?